everybody. Welcome back to What's That All About? Today's episode is focused on Hangar 18. Not sure if you've heard about it, but if you're into UFOs and watching the documentaries on UFOs, then you most likely have heard about it. Wright Field, now known as Wright Patterson Air Force Base, is located outside of Dayton, Ohio. Okay, and its focus, it has a lot of speculation around it. Similar to that of Area 51, which I thought honestly had weird shit wrapped up all by itself. I was wrong. In fact, many comparisons to the two locations have been made, and it's funny because I found out while doing this episode something. I'm going to tell you about it when I get to it. But boy, was I proven wrong, and I got some bad intel. But I digress. Let's move on. Wright Patterson was where Project Blue Book was headquartered. And I know I've mentioned it several times to you. It's also in my book. Shameless plug, shameless plug. And they were, obviously, I'll just mention again quickly, they investigated UFO sightings and witness accounts. There were 12,618 cases that they investigated, leaving 701, including the battle over at Los Angeles, which I just did recently, as one of the 701 outstanding cases to this day. So, but specifically, it was Hangar 18 that attracted the most attention, and UFO researchers believe that the government, per the usual, had definitely took strides to bury real life evidence of UFO crafts and alien beings, live and deceased. Okay? Now, within the hangar was a sealed, secluded, and well-guarded spot known as the Blue Room. Hence my blue. I themed this. I actually didn't. But it seems cool to say that right now. Captain Edward J. Ruppelt, I think that's how you say it, oversaw the cases that came in through witness accounts and that were eventually given to Project Blue Book. And for further, he also had actually headed up Project Grudge and Project Sign, which preceded Project Blue Book. And in July of 1947, the UFO crash that occurred in Roswell. This is where I was surprised, okay? That crash left more than a mile of debris, okay? And that wreckage field, the entire bit of wreckage, every bit, well, I think there was some people that snuck off with some pieces, but I don't cover that in this. The initial report was published about the crash. The government quickly stepped in to make sure that the biggest cover-ups were intact, because one story came out that a flying saucer had crashed, right? And if you recall, through anything else you've watched, that Roswell was, had that story had to sort of be redacted quick. Not redacted, it was still out there, but they had to cover it up real quick with those silly weather balloons and hey, look at that, comes full circle. We're still dealing with weather balloons. But and the crash test dummy theory, that the alien bodies that they found were crash tests. I mean, the stupidity factor that the government gives to the people is like off the charts, but I don't want to get too far up that ass. The actual debris, like I said, all went to Hangar 18, and I thought everything had gone to Area 51. I got shitty intel and I'm pissed because, I'm out here saying all these things, did my research, did this, did that. It didn't go to Area 51. Shit went to freaking Hangar 18 and into the Blue Room. Anyway, in March of 1950, another episode occurred in Aztec, New Mexico. I hadn't even heard of this, okay? Oil workers working on a mesa spotted another disc, but this one, it didn't crash. It did land, but upon landing, there was a fire that started, okay? So a few of the brave oil workers went to the craft, and there was a hole like in the side of the craft, like almost looked like a portal into the ship. So a couple of them peered in, and they said there was between like 14 or 16 of these little like 3 to 4 foot alien being looking things, all huddled into a group like on top of each other, but they were all dead. And they had burned, which, oh, thanks, welcome to Earth. We're gonna light you on fire. But what were you doing out of your neighborhood? Trucks were dispatched from a nearby base at Colorado, and following just like what happened in Roswell, all the debris, all the bodies went to Hangar 18, Blue Room. And they were forced, these workers, the oil workers, were forced to sign NDAs, and they were told that it was their American civic duty to remain silent about what they had seen. Ew, and here's a big chunk of cash, because that's probably how the government. Anyway, the debris collected was carried off to Wright's Patterson, but these were not the only two discs. The Roswell and the Aztec, New Mexico crafts were not the only ones recovered. So there was apparently across the country, there had been a collision of two alien crafts together over Arizona. There had been a craft downed in Laredo, Texas, no clue, as well as Kettsburg, Pennsylvania. Now, all of these crashes, as I said before, and the aliens were sent to Wright Patterson's Hangar 18. Busy little place in the 40s and 50s. Project Moondust, okay, was another classified program that came out of Wright Patterson, just like Blue Book. And that was about collecting any foreign crafts that came from either other countries, from outer space, if it were so inclined, but anything that was not of American-made origin, they were collecting in this Project Moondust, okay? And in Hangar 18, it would go through the process of reconstruction and reverse engineering, so that our forces would get the planes and weaponry that was like an upgrade, right, and be good for our forces. And a man by the name of Marion Magruder, okay, on his deathbed, his family finally convinced him, because he worked at Wright Patterson, he finally convinced him to speak out about what he encountered while he was there. And I have some quotes here. He talks about the recovered alien bodies, which honestly, I was very surprised to hear. He said, and I quote, "It was alive, but we killed it. It was a shameful thing that the military destroyed this creature by conducting tests on it. But he explained to his family that it had not been done on purpose. He said there was no way of knowing how to heal the aliens' injuries. The authorities did everything, but their efforts were not life-saving," which is really sad, right? I mean, to know that our military is kind of messed up, but they still probably had no idea how severely injured this alien was. How would they? Probably the first time they're ever seeing one. And when you have no idea how to help, I mean, my God, there's no medicine on our Earth for that. We haven't been given anything for that as far as I know. But anyway, even after Project Blue Book closed down in 1969, speculation persisted about Wright Patterson. And according to the Tampa Tribune, a Florida ufologist named Roger Spencer Carr, he publicly alleged in 1974 that, quote, "the Air Force was keeping 2 flying saucers of unknown origin within Wright's Hangar 18. Military sources who witnessed the autopsy, another person had come forward, but only as a confidential informant. So we don't know the name of this person, but he witnessed 12, he says, 12 alien beings being autopsied. And even though Carr's claims were met with a lot of skepticism, there was still like significant media coverage, because that's a hot topic. If you can go to the press and say, I've got this source who worked at Wright Patterson who says they worked on alien bodies, I mean, that's going to get a headline. Okay. Also, Hangar 18, like I said, I think I said before, it was made into a movie in 1980. So it was like constantly in the headlines for like a very long. You've got the 40s, the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s now. It's still got a lot of attention around it, a lot of rumors still swirling around it. And it just kept that public interest peaked nonstop, right? So, anyway, it definitely for the government is the hub for where alien shit goes. I thought Area 51 again had that buttoned up. No, that is not correct. But when Project Blue Book closed, the government flat out lied to the American people. Okay, they said there was never a threat, never has been a threat. And now this is in 1969. And they claim that there's never been a threat to our nation's security and resulting from UFOs. Furthermore, the government made claims that UFOs did not represent technological advanced capabilities beyond what they already understood. Holy horse shit. That is so far up the ass of bullshit, I can't even fathom it. They're claiming that they already knew about all this new technology. Dude, they don't even know today what they have. And they're going to say they knew back then? Hilarious. Anyway, I honestly, I can't even, I even wrote down pile of dog shit right here because that's a steamy one. Now, clearly, as we know, the government has never stopped investigating UFOs. Now, whether they admitted that or not, now they kind of have to. Thank you, Arrow. Actually, thank you, ATIP, Lou Elizondo, and Tom DeLong, and Chris Mellon, and a lot of other people involved. But when it Jeremy Corbell and George Knapp, I mean, the list is endless. That I'm so thankful. Even Dr. Stephen Greer. I mean, James Fox, and there's so much information now out there that I urge you to just seek out because it is fascinating. But oh my God, Wright's Patterson Air Force Base is still very active. I don't know if Hangar 18 is still essentially like the place that they take everything, but I think the Blue Room's still in use. Okay, I I don't know, but anyway, I think that when and if it's time, for some more disclosure, I don't know so much that we're ever really going to know any more than the government wants us to. First of all, what they don't understand is that we know if they can't figure out or decipher the technology that's already at their fingertips, we're never going to know because they're not going to tell us they don't get it. They're not going to raise their hand in class and go, "Can you explain it to me like I'm 8?" Like, they're not going to do it because they don't want to shake our confidence, and they don't want to have to tell us one way or another that they just don't get it. Like, you've got Bob Lazar, God bless him, who came forward with description of of a new element, 115, and anti-gravity information, all this stuff. And there's so many people who are discovering new things all the time, but it's just more convenient to discredit them because it makes the conversation a lot less productive and a lot less questions to answer. And when you don't have the answers, you don't want to be asked anything. So it's funny how that works. Anyway, I just wanted to touch on this because I will probably be giving you, an update on the Arrow UFO cases. I think they have active at the moment 161. Don't worry, I am not going to go into all of them. Holy crap, no way. I don't have that kind of time, and neither do you. But I do want to just fill you in on a couple of things. So I hope you're staying happy and healthy, and stay weird and take care. Bye.